Hello, everybody. I can never tell when this thing is starting, so I'm assuming it's going. There's about a 4, 5, 7 minute second delay, and between it when I start streaming and when it actually shows up on the screen. So, anyway, here we are, and we're going to go post this on our website. The website that we're working from is denverguitarorchestra.com, and I would love for you to swing by there and pick up the sheet music for today, and we'll have. As soon as I get the link posted, we'll have we'll have a handful of people come and join us, and they will be playing along. We have a 4-tier system for the most part. There's multiple more tiers than that, but online we have 4 tiers. Level 1 is for new players who need to learn how to play guitar fingerstyle. Level 2 is for people who already know how to play guitar but are working on getting their full toolbox put together. Level 3 is for public domain songs that are good songs, right? So songs that I don't have to worry about copyright restrictions and all that sort of stuff, and those are sitting on the website, ready and able for you to play. And it involves all of the skills that you would use for fingerstyle play. And then, in addition to that, let me double check this opens up for. We will be playing level 4 songs on Thursday nights. Those are modern songs that are not in the public domain. Lately we've been working on Beatles music, and today we're playing Frère Jacques for our Book 1 song, Carnival of Venice for our Book 2 song. It's classical music by Paganini, a great guitar composer, and then also we're playing Avudiraje Mama, which is also better known as Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. So we got that going on. And I've got, we're using new broadcasting software, so you guys please let me know what you're hearing at your house, whether it's clean, whether it's loud enough. I found a gain filter on it yesterday, so I think that should help. I'm going to post on Twitter, denverguitarorchestra.com, and then that little thing pops up, and then I'm going to put I'm going to post Frère Jacques, comma, Carnival of Venice, comma, and Avudiraje Mama. So we have 2 French songs and an Italian song. How about that? Screw you, America. All right, so there's that. I should still probably go ahead and put in the little graphic, okay, so there's that. We have tweeted, we have posted on the website. Let's see if people are coming into this chat bar. If you log in, just let me know how the sound is. Right now, the weird thing is the software that I've added onto YouTube looks normal. YouTube now looks super complicated and seriously delayed. I think what's coming out on YouTube is now actually what's happening at your house. It shows me how far delayed it is, and so it's fascinating. I go da 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 da. That's the moment, and we count 3, 4, 5, and it's about 5 or 6 seconds delay. Oh no, there I just went. So it's about a 10 or 11 second delay. So that's probably what's showing up at your house, is that 10 or 11 second delay, which is more than it used to be without this software. But this software gives me a lot of control over other things that I like. So we're going to leave it at that for the morning. I'm working on trying to figure out how to most effectively use this. We've come up with a system that works pretty well, I think. And so let's see. Vic says the sound is much better. Yeah, I found it's interesting, Vic. I had to read 3 different and you have these forums on these free software where people talk about the challenges, and there's a lot of people that have problems with the sound being too low, and there's a filter that you can go in and adjust, and I figured out how to use it, and it's just a little slider, and I can upgrade. I can actually make it way too loud if necessary. so I've worked at getting an intermediate space where it's louder than it was, but not so loud that it peaks out all of the time. And my biggest concern is there's a big difference in volume between my voice and the guitar, and so So there's that. Let's see. Evelyn made it in. She's in from Ecuador, you guys. Can you believe that? Hi, Gary. Sound is good. It's 67 degrees and sunny in Cuenca. We have about 30 degrees or not even that, maybe 20 degrees and overcast. Probably expecting a hint of snow today here in Denver. Vic, it's sunny up in Eugene. Oregon is known for its rainy winters, and Vic has had quite a few sunny days. So she's hitting it good. Elizabeth says she's delayed this morning too. Elizabeth's on about a 12-second delay. Glad you're here, Elizabeth. She says the sound is good there. Okay, Arlo's made it in. Arlo is one of the best guitar players I know, and he's just like all of us, working on finding those things. He's already knows the things he's pretty good at, and working at those things that he's not so great at, and playing fingerstyle was what we do here, or chord melody, or I call it tough axe because it's somewhere between chord melody and fingerstyle, and so that's what we do here. I did want to mention Pauline is here, so our heavy hitters are in. Yeah, sunny and cool, 47 degrees up in the Bay Area. Good to see you. So looks like we got most of our regular attendees, with the I haven't seen Nancy log in yet, but the software, it makes it kind of complicated for me to tell how many people are logged in at any given time now, or who are watching. It says 5, but there's already 6 of you here, so it doesn't make sense. So I'm not going to worry about that. One thing I wanted to mention, here's kind of it's sort of silly news and sort of kind of cool news. I don't know where to put this. Over the weekend, I submitted my application to go to Metro State University of Denver, which is down the block here, in the School of Music. And you know how academia is. You have to jump through all these hoops, and so you have to submit an application, then you have to take a test, then you have to talk to an advisor, then you have to submit an audition, and then you're officially in. And then you got to pay the bill, right? So I don't quite understand how the bill paying works here, but so there's a 5 or 6 step hoops you have to jump through just to have them let you come take classes there. So just this morning, they sent back, which means that they're really, doing a really serious job of vetting these candidates. I submitted it in over the weekend. I got a note that I've been accepted to the Metro State University. So I have the application in. I have my advising meeting this afternoon, and I am taking the music theory test in a couple, I think it's a month from now or something like that, 2 months maybe. Anyway, down the road. But I need to still get my audition tape together, and so what I'm thinking, and you guys let me know how you feel about this, but I want to there's 5 tunes that they recommend for putting on tape, plus the Segovia scale. And so I'm thinking next week it would be kind of fun for all of us to look at those songs and see which ones we think are the best and which ones, and then we can take a group think about which ones I should put on tape and turn into the university, and make it kind of an activity for all of us. The songs are not tough to play. They are obviously the stuff they send me is always just standard notation, but I will clean it up for you so that you can choose to play it either with standard notation or tablature. It won't matter. I am not a purist when it comes to that sort of stuff, as you guys know. So it might be fun next week for us to talk about whether you want to help prepare for my audition, and then we would make some adjustments into next week's schedules. We'd probably replace some of the level 3 songs with those tunes, and I think they're nice tunes as well. They're kind of fun, and a couple of them sound kind of Spanish, and there's one that sounds very classical, and so on, and so one's kind of got a carnival feel to it, which is what we're working on today. So I think that's the plan. I think that's what I will ask you guys to help me with, and you guys let me know what you think about that. But the 5 pieces that they recommend are all definitely, all of you guys can play them with tablature, of course, and then some of you can play them without the tablature probably. And then we would start work on that Segovia scale, which for me, the songs are not a problem. It's the scales that are a real problem for me, because I don't like working on them. And so we'll be messing around with that, and you guys can decide how you feel about that over the next few days, and then next week I'll probably just adjust our schedule for next week to reflect that change. But I was surprised how quickly I got that email back, like, "Yep, you're in." And I'm like, "You're probably probably one." I don't. Though the cutest part was I had to submit my high school transcript, and I'm like, well, you guys know this is way before computers, right? So I'm not sure. So I decided I'd have them send me a copy of it too. And they got all these Xerox report cards on there. So it's pretty cute. I graduated, it appears, based on it, I was 49th out of 441. So I wasn't stupid back in those days, but I wasn't smart either. So what instrument are you going to play for your audition tape? The guitar. Yeah, because I'm going into theory and composition. Composition and conducting is really the thing I want to go to school for. But you have to get into the university by auditioning on an instrument. So we'll be auditioning on this instrument. And they give you a list of songs they recommend that you play. They're not, they're lower ability than most of the stuff we play here on a daily basis. How many Segovia? Just one Segovia scale, and I did check in with Alex over at the school. I says, do I get extra credit points by playing one of the more complicated scales? He goes, no, C major's fine. So I don't think, I think really what they're looking at, and you guys know how it works, is that if you know how to play, you will look like you know how to play. The fact that your song is more complicated or not is really, as you can tell from the stuff we do here, your ability to play the more complicated stuff is not necessarily that the stuff is more complicated. It just takes longer to get it ready. And so, we can play Frère Jacques here fairly quickly. Well, the same exact skill set shows up in Carnival of Venice. It just takes a little more work to get it together. Same exact skill set shows up in everything we play. It's just that they're more complicated and take longer to do. So it's really, it seems to me that outside of professional level, and it's in an amateur level, it's really about how much time his stuff's going to take to prepare. Now that's a bit of an exaggeration, but not that much, right? There's not that many skills that are a complete mystery on this machine. Are you going to do a mock edition before the real one? Well, it turns out Elizabeth has been in academic music a long time. She knows the whole system. There is no in-person auditions. It's all on tape now, and so I just have to record it, and so that's what next week would serve as, essentially, is mock auditions for all of us to see how we're doing. And so there is no, if I was doing it live like they did before the pandemic, absolutely, yeah, we would be doing a lot more work with that, because there'd be a lot greater terror in my soul. But because it's all online right at the moment, I feel pretty confident that we should be able to be just fine. We'll know by next Friday whether we can play the scales or not, right? So that's the plan. Let's play some music today. You guys will let me know either in chat, right, if you're logged in, or through email, what you think about of that plan. But it should be kind of fun. It'll be a chance for us to just play the 5 audition songs that are on their website, along with one scale from Segovia. And Segovia scales are interesting because, unlike our open scales, which are the preference is given for the maximum amount of string, creates the most beautiful sound when you're playing open scales. His are all closed scales, and so instead of starting here and going down, they start here and go up. And so you take a lot more advantage of the notes that are on this part of the fretboard. There's a reason you want to do that, right? Then your fingers stay in charge of the sound, and you can let it run or not run. It's whatever, But for us, I tend to like the open sound of the guitar, so I tend to want to play as far down as possible. Having Arlo here, he's sort of the opposite, right? He wants to be in charge of the strings. That's why he's so good with his bar chords. So, all right, we talked about Frère Jacques the last couple of days. Is today Thursday? Today's Wednesday. We talked about it yesterday, and so we talked about it once, and so hopefully it's coming along for you. Let's grab our A chord. Again, if you are newer, index, let me get this out of the way. Index finger on the 4th string up, 2nd fret. Middle finger, 3rd string up, 2nd fret. Ring finger, 2nd string up, 2nd. second string, second fret. Everything's in the second fret. Okay. Okay, guys, you've been around a while. You're going to be playing an arpeggio. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. If you're still not quite feeling comfy with that, just go to your standard pluck. This is equally valuable. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and of course, newer players. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I feel like I'm a little bit low. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or take your index finger. This is when a lot of people learn to play guitar with a pick. I have a pick sitting here these days because I pulled out a mandolin. It's a very wanky instrument. When you're playing with a pick, it's a lot of down, up, down, up, down, up, and so you can create that same effect with just your index finger down. Make sure you're using your nail, and then when you come back up, use the pad of your index finger. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Frère Jacques, Frère Jacques, dormez-vous, dormez-vous. Sonnez les matines, sonnez les matines. Ding, dang, dong, ding. Again. Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping, Brother John? Brother John. Morning bells are ringing, morning bells are ringing. Ding, dang, dong, ding, dang, dong. And then, of course, the last measure we don't necessarily always do all 4 beats when we're thinking about it. Vic says, sounds like fun. Let's help Gary get into college. I haven't been to college since 1988. That's not true. I did take a teaching program. I forgot. I went to the University of New Mexico to get my teaching certificate. So that was 90 and 91. And that was the last time I was in college. Let's play the melody. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very pretty. Okay. And then finally, Pauline says, should we send letters of recommendation? I would be afraid of what you guys would say. Dear Metro State University, we would like to recommend Gary reservedly. If he would ever shut up, he might have time to play guitar. All right. And again, the idea is, yeah, I will. The delightful part is because you have to audition, and you have your primary instrument, but really the program is different, and so guitar will end up being my primary instrument over there. But the studies is really theory, composition, and composing. Theory, composition, and conducting is my plan anyway, and that's a completely different group of people, so it'll be interesting to see how all this works. Good morning, Pele. Glad you're here. We're working on Frère Jacques. Let's play the tough acts, guys. If you are brand new to guitar, level 1, don't spend time on this. Just pay attention to what's going on here. See what Gary is doing, because that's what you're going to be doing when you get to book 2. Okay, so from the top, guys, if you are been around a while, you're plucking maybe or strumming, either of those. Okay, and if you've been around a good long time, try to add in an extra decadative note between these notes. See how that goes? not changing anything over here. I'm just plucking additional notes lower, on the lower strings, the higher up strings, the lower pitched strings, just adding in extra decorative notes. It's kind of a fun thing to do. From the top, and then that's when you're doing that. That's true finger style. You're just adding in decorative notes, just to make it more busy and more fun. Okay, from the top, I'm going to pluck it the first time and strum it the second time. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you are hopefully that's going smoothly for you. Level 2 and above, right? That's a song that really can make it sound good, and then start working in those extra decorative notes. We talk about it all the time, right? When you're getting ready to learn a new skill or practice a harder skill, you go to an easier song to work on that, and so you'll come back theoretically to these easy. They're not easy. They're hard in the beginning as you are playing and you get pretty comfortable. Then you can start bringing tools you're learning in levels 2 and 3. Bring it back down to level 1. See how it fits into the song. You can actually turn this song into a ton of fun. So there we go. There's our first level 1 of the day. Let's go into Carnival of Venice. That's our second song today. Book 2. And I'm trying to remember the Carnival of Venice. I added in as a late addition to the book 2, the revised book 2, and I don't know if it actually made the cut into. It didn't. So it didn't make it into the final version of the book 2 second edition. So that's good news that for sure we'll be having a third edition of book 2. I'm really pleased with book 2. I think if you don't have the actual book itself, you might want to send me an email. And for you guys, I'll give it to you. But the idea behind book 2 was to make it where if you didn't have a teacher, you could actually sit down and study this music and be able to play. And once you can get through book 2, you can play any level. So that's the big important stuff is in book 2. But Carnival of Venice didn't make the second edition, so it'll be added into the third edition. Big one on this one again is similar to yesterday. We are working on kind of complicated chord shapes. So you're working on your C chord, and then you're switching over to your G7, and then back. The other thing that's fascinating about this piece is that the tough axe is going to require you to use this C shape as well, which is 5-5-5-8. And so you're already, even early into book 2, you're talking about, well, this is my C chord, but this is also a C chord. And you will end up using both of those. I think one of the things I struggled with early on in playing was, hey, I need to have everything just be one way. If this is the C chord, I don't like this, but I just want to play this one forever, so I get really good at it. But that's not the right way to think. This is a shape that you play. You want to get as good as you can at, but this is another shape that you're going to play. And oddly, here's another shape of that same chord. So the no, that's not correct. It's where is it? It's this one. So you will have these other shapes that we need to do the same job, and it really is run by the melody. We're playing Paganini here, a very famous classical composer, did a lot of work on guitar, and those guys, as you know, they're going to push the envelope a little bit, make it everything a little bit more difficult than it needs to be, because they're after something unique and new, and of course that's what composers do, is sort of push the envelope a little bit further. And what we want to do is just know, hey, here's a C chord. Doesn't matter how good you are at the moment, you'll get better. Here's another C chord. Okay, and so that's going to be showing up. I think the hard part here is C chord, G7. I find that very challenging. Pele says, would you play the last three notes you played on Frère Jacques? Oh, on Frère Jacques. So what I did at the end there, if I come in, ding, dang, dong, ding, dang, dong, and I'm going to drop in this A chord on the end. And then all I did, Pele, which I always do when I'm just adding decorative notes in, I drop in this beautiful A chord, and then I'm just going to pick random strings, because they're going to sound fine. Bum, 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 and I can pick any of those strings. The last thing I did was I did put on the bar chord on 2 with my pinky on 5. And the only reason I do that, this pinky is an A, that's an A note right here. Remember, if you're on an E string, you just count up F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. Okay, so that's an A. So if I play my A chord, and then I play some extra notes, I want to finish up with an A, or I could strum that, and then the last thing I did, I got an A string hanging out doing nothing here at the moment. I can give that bong to wrap it up. But anytime you are wanting to put a decorative end onto something, just hold whatever the last chord is. Ding, dang, dong, ding, dang, dong. Some extra notes. Yeah, and you can do that on every song. I mean, really, just hold whatever the last chord you're holding is, and then just start poking around for nice notes. If you've got a C chord, you're thinking, well, this is this A string, A sharp, B, C. That's your lowest C on the guitar. So when we get to the end, you play that little C note at the end. Let's actually study the song first, however. Okay, so there's no lyrics, so we won't sing it, but at home, for sure, you're practicing C, 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 G7, C7, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3. You're in. This song's in 3, so you would want to practice it in waltz time. Let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And in waltz time, that first beat is always pretty heavy. The second ones are definitely subservient to it. So you're thinking more, instead of thinking 3 even beats, C, 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 you're probably thinking boom, chuck, chuck, boom, chuck, chuck, bum, 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 bum. Bum 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 ba da da dum 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 da dum dum dum. Okay, so you're thinking about, in waltz time, definitely that first beat quite a bit heavier than beats 2 and 3. Almost always, not always, but most of the time, and it's certainly on something from 1829. Yeah, they're definitely going to be taking advantage of that heavier waltz pattern. Let's play the melody. Make sure you know how it goes. You've heard this song before. From the top, 2-beat count in, twice through. 1, 2. 2. 3, 1. 2, 3, 1, 2. 3, 1. 2, 3, 1, 2. Whoops, what's the next page? Go. Let's do it one more time. I missed that. I blew the page turn pretty bad there. Go. 2. 3, 1. 2, 3, 1. 3, 1. 2, 3, 1. 3, 1. And give it a little tremolo at the end, right? We've talked about tremolo a few times. Ring finger probably is the best. And just wiggle it back and forth. Hopefully you hear a little wah 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 out of your guitar. Or pinky. Sometimes middle. I find middle, a lot of people use their middle. You want kind of your wiggly or finger, I think. Right? I think ring is my favorite. You can do it with any of them, right? The problem, these two fingers are pretty strong and they have a tendency to resist more. Right? Maybe you get a little more control over it. But ring is more fun, I think. Because you got it seems more cooperative to me. Probably each of your fingers will tell you which one it makes the best tremolo finger. Elizabeth says, maybe we should all write a variation on the carnival thing. Wouldn't that be fun? Now, I don't know. I'm not positive we're there, but it could be fun. I play a variation of every single thing I play because I like to add in extra notes that are appear to be wrong on the paper, you know. So I play a very, let's see, dun dun dun. So you add an extra, just mess around with it, right? Paganini does not care if you play this correctly. Finally, let's play the tough axe. Again, if you're newer, like if you're still getting book one under your belt, you stay on melody, right? Playing melody. This melody is actually surprisingly complex in the sense there's not a lot of notes that are complex in here, but playing from your ring finger to get that pinky on 5 and back is very challenging. And I have a full-size guitar, and man, oh man, am I stretching like crazy to do that. And again, I talk to people a lot about, do you have the right size guitar? Are you sure a full-size guitar is for you? I have, decent size hands. That's a big stretch. And if you can't do it, then you're talking about having to switch positions, right? In which case you would probably go up to the 5, or maybe the 4th position. There's a lot of motion there if you can't reach it, and so my preference, of course, is do the least amount possible, and in this case it's just a heck of a pinky stretch, and you heard me several times either overshoot the fret or undershoot it, right? And so if I'm going to present this to if I'm going to play this for somebody, I'm going to have to memorize this so I can keep an eye on where my pinky is hitting that 5. All right, so if you're book 1, obviously playing melody is the important part. If you're book 2, working on the G chord and the G7 are important. Okay, and then finally, if you are working on tough axe, which is what you should be doing at level 2, let's walk through it, make sure everything makes sense. First thing is you always grab the C chord. In this case, it's kind of a waste, right? You got your C chord on and you're like, oh, I only have to play one note. And then it says 555. Okay, just know that this is a C chord here, 555 with an 8 in your pinky. That's a C chord. But in this case, since the melody's on 5, I'm just going to put a bar there, play those 5 strings. And then I'm going to come back with my ring finger on 3 while I'm putting on a miniature bar onto the C chord here. I need to cover both of the 1s, and then I have the rest of the C chord goes on here. It's not particularly pleasant, and that's certainly not easy to do. Lift up your index finger to open up that first string, and then you're going to drop it down to the first string and put your G7 on, and then your pinky on the second string. Okay, keep going. Okay, I'll lift up my index finger and then put them right back down. Pinky on 3. I'm going to slide it up to 005 because it'll sound. I might get that sound in there, right? Middle finger on 3 probably, and then go assemble your C chord. 2 decorative notes and another C chord. Pinky, bar on 5. Come back to the 3, grab it with your pinky while you're putting on the C chord. Grab the 1, G7 shape, add the pinky. Do it again. G7 chord, add your pinky, slide it up to the 5, grab the 3, and then the C chord. 2 decorative notes, and a chord, pinky, 1 O, C chord, pinky, 1, G7, but your pinky's on, or your index finger's on the second string. Strum, 3 O, G7, hit the 3, slide it up to 5, middle finger on 3, and then assemble your C chord. You may want to play those 3s with your pinky. That way you don't have to move it while you're putting your C chord on. And then you got your big moment here. I would play the pinky for sure here. Slide it up to 5, or slide it up to 8, and add my bar on at 5. Okay, and that sounds really lovely. Come back to your 3. Assemble your C chord. 1 O, G7, pinky, again, G7, slide to 5. C chord. Okay. One time through. We'll just do this top to bottom now, as if it's the last time through, and do the best you can. I won't go fast. This one's got a lot of fingers involved. From the top, 1, 2. Sorry. Let me start from the top one more time. I missed a note. From the top. 1, 2. Second ending. So I hit that A string accidentally. I didn't mean to. Reached down, looked right at it, and said, "Don't hit that." And then I played it. So now I've added an A note onto the bass, and that sounds a little wanky, right? Sounds a little more on the jazz-ish side, so don't try not to do that. Get a solid C chord if you just hit strings 5, 5, 5, 8. That song is meant to be played at double that speed. So in other words, if you want to really make that sound like the Carnival of Venice, you'd want to play that until you can play it much faster. And with that type of thing where you're so spread out on the fretboard, you probably are going to have to memorize certain sections of it. So yeah. It's a fun song, isn't it pretty? And Paganini, right? He's legit. Okay, it's just fun to say his name. Yeah, that's a guitar piece by Paganini. It wasn't originally a guitar piece. It just works out pretty nicely for us that there's only 2 chords. All right, final piece of the day today, Avudiraje Mama. Super fancy title for Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So let's go grab that one. And it turns out it's harder to play than you would think it would be. So. Now I don't have any repeats on this song, and so it's really one shot, best shot. But it would, I think, when I redo book 3, which is coming up one of these days, I will add repeats into this because you got 2 sets of lyric lines. Why not play it through twice? So let's play it through twice. Well, let's do the chords first. Let's make sure we know all of our chords. So we're starting with the G chord. I gave you the fancy G. In other words, when I say fancy G, I always mean, hey, we're going to add on both fingers onto here, ring and pinky at 3. I think it sounds a little bit brighter, a little bit more aggressive, a little bit happier. So twinkle, twinkle, grab your C chord, little star, D7. How I wonder what you are up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. And so the big thing with that, I think, is are you ever going to be really dedicated to playing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star? Probably not. But you might end up teaching somebody how to play guitar, and look at how many chords you are. It's a surprisingly difficult song, and it's not unimportant. This is a variation on a theme that Mozart actually created, so you are sort of playing Mozart, right? Now, he did it just live in color at a moment, and somebody wrote it down. But you are playing classical music. That we wouldn't have this if it weren't for Mozart. All right, so those are your chords. A lot of work on that. Then let's play the melody. Let's make sure we know how that goes from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. So one of the things I was doing, Elizabeth mentioned earlier, hey, we should do variations on Carnival on a thing. I think it's more fun to actually start on Twinkle Twinkle because you actually really know the song well, and you hear themes, variations on this theme all the time. It comes from a variation, but you'd be thinking about either adding something or subtracting something to make a variation. So if you're playing the melody, now go back through and think about what would happen if I either added a note or subtracted a note. That doesn't sound good. How about? So I'm just doing the string right above it just to see what it sounds like. That didn't sound terrible. Oh, and then I'm hitting the string right below it. And I'm going to grab the threes. Got the C's. That's weird, so I'm gonna, if it this is the one above it doesn't sound good, so I'll grab that C, the C string. So I'm just grabbing the note, the string above it. I'm gonna have to add in an index finger here, and then I get. Now I've got a variation that sounds kind of cool. All I'm really doing is doing some arpeggio picking, but you can't tell necessarily. It just sounds fancy. That's how you do variations. You just start messing around, tossing in other notes. A lot of times on guitar, the string right above there is just waiting for you to use your decorative notes there. Donna just walked in. Hello. Her iPad. We ordered her a new iPad. I get the old crummy thing. She gets the new stuff because she's the big cheese around here, and right now she's ready to punch me. But we got the iPad, new iPad coming in. We got the keyboard with the little stand on it, and the little stand just showed up. It's very exciting. We get the iPad in a couple of days, so we're really becoming very, very high tech around here. iPads came out a decade ago. Oh, we're getting an iPad. Very exciting. All right, let's play the tough acts and call it a day. From the top, 2 times through. 1, 2, 3, 4. Adding a little bit of variation, just adding in extra decorative notes makes you sound fancier, like you know what you're doing. But Definitely fun to do. Thanks for bringing up variations, Elizabeth. Now I'm all into playing it different than what's written on the paper. But you use the paper, right? Play it through until you know what's on the paper. Then you start adding in your decorative notes. Arlo says, when looking for color, he calls it color, right? I call it decoration. To go with the melody note, one idea is to use either the third or the sixth of the scale of the chord you are in to play the melody of the note. Absolutely. So a little more complicated thing than what I do, right? Which is if you're playing a D and the notes, your main melody notes here, right, which is a D note, you're going to be fine hitting that string or that string. So those are nice sort of decorative notes or reliable notes. But you've got other notes that you could be messing around with. So maybe try this note here. Oh, that would sound pretty. No, that sounds terrible. Start messing around with the other fingers that are available. Sometimes you don't have any other fingers available, but if you have, your pinky ends up doing a ton of work with decoration notes. And a lot of times if you play the chord and you're like, well, I can sacrifice this guy, now you have all of these notes that are also available without letting it go up on that. And third and sixth is the third of the scale and the sixth of the scale. Pretty reliable. Jazz musicians do that all of the time, and they'll put in major thirds and minor thirds and all this other stuff to make the song sound wrong, but they're using it to create tension to resolve. And so be experimental a little bit. And again, you don't be experimental on the hard songs. You come back to songs that are more playable and then start messing around and seeing what comes out. It's a fun thought process of, hey, if I've got a C scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, I'm pretty sure the C, D, E, that's this note here, that's the E, is going to sound kind of cool. And that's what Arlo was talking about for harmony, because it ends up being an A minor, sorta. Or the sixth of the scale is an E and C, right? That ends up being either could be an E minor or it could be just a regular C major. And over here, the sixth, C, D, E, F, G, A, can then play around with the C as A minor or potentially an F, right? So that sort of stuff is, your brain starts to float around pretty fast on that. Baby steps, right? Baby steps. Let's see. Thanks, Vic. Good to see you. Thanks, everybody, for being here. We're moving off to harmonica next, so if you want to come play some harmonica, I don't remember what we're playing today, but it'll be fun. Pele, managed to keep up with your variations just now on Twinkle. Isn't it fun, Pele? Just taking the idea of, hey, I've got the song down. Now I'm going to start dinking around with other notes on the fretboard that I can get to and see what happens. And it's really, just very pleasant to add in extra notes. Pretty soon you are a true fingerstyle player, which is every single eighth note you're plucking something, and it ends up sounding very decorative and very complete and very full, just out of just goofing around and just making it sound fun. So yeah, thanks for the lesson with variation. It really dresses up a simple song, right? That's what we're doing. Is you guys, a lot of you guys have been around a little while now. You're like, okay, I get melody, I get chords, I get tough uke. Sometimes tough uke gets a little brutal, right? But the idea is, go back to those songs that you started with. You'll be delighted how easy they are to play now, as opposed to how hard they were the first or second time through. But then when you're starting to think about, all right, I got a whole note, I'm going to fill in those. Then I got half notes, I'm going to also fill in all those. And then I got quarter notes, and between every quarter note, I'm going to slow the song down so that I can start putting in extra decorative notes. And then you're done, right? Then you're just like, just give me the melody and the chords. I'll figure the rest out myself. So yeah, there we go. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Stay warm if you're in a cold area, and all that. And then I will see the rest of you down the road either later today or tomorrow. Have a wonderful afternoon. Pulling the plug. Thanks, Elizabeth.